This week, the Chargers are back in action against the Saints, but with a massive list of injuries, this game might not be as straightforward as it looks on paper. Protecting Justin Herbert will be the key to victory, but there's much more on the line here. What's up, Chargers fans? Today, we're diving deep into the game plan, breaking down what the Chargers need to do to win and avoid a potential upset. Stay tuned as we tackle the biggest matchups, key players, and predictions for this critical showdown. First thing first, the Chargers enter this game with a considerable injury list, making it one of the biggest concerns heading into the matchup. Notably, several key offensive players and linemen are either questionable or ruled out, which could make things tricky for Justin Herbert and the offense. For the Chargers to succeed, it's all about keeping Herbert protected. That might sound simple, but with a weakened offensive line and missing targets, it's a lot harder to execute than it seems. Why is keeping Herbert upright so crucial? When Herbert has time in the pocket, he's not just good, he's elite. His stats under protection are phenomenal. Herbert's completing over 70% of his passes, throwing for nearly 1,000 yards with 0 interceptions. In fact, he's even recorded multiple big-time throws, passes that require precision accuracy and tight timing, especially downfield in recent weeks. These aren't just stats. These numbers are a direct indicator of how Herbert can dominate defenses when given the chance. Now, looking at the Saints' defense, they're coming in hot, and they'll be focused on breaking through the Chargers' line. The Saints boast 2 top pass rushers, Carl Granderson and Chase Young, both with 27 or more pressures on quarterbacks this season. To put it in perspective, Chargers pass rush star Khalil Mack has 22, showing just how dangerous the Saints' front is. If the Saints get to Herbert and disrupt the offense, this game could turn into a close battle. But if the Chargers' line holds strong, the Chargers should have a significant advantage. Another hurdle for the Chargers is the lack of depth in their receiving core due to multiple injuries. With several primary receivers like Quentin Johnston and others on the injury list, it's up to a wider group of players to pick up the slack. Josh Palmer and Jalen Reagor are expected to play larger roles this week, and so is rookie receiver Kamani Vidal, who's already shown some potential with a long touchdown reception earlier this season. This game demands creativity from the Chargers' offense. With limited receiving options, they need to utilize every player available. Running backs like Vidal and tight ends like Stone Smart will be critical not just in screenplays, but also in regular pass routes to create more opportunities for Herbert. Even Hayden Hurst, who's been a bit underutilized, could have an impact in this game if he steps up. A strong performance from the tight ends and running backs in the passing game could be a difference maker, especially against a defense that's been vulnerable in the short passing game. One thing to watch: scoring touchdowns. The Chargers haven't scored a second-half touchdown since Week 1, an issue that's kept them from sealing games. This trend has to end if they want a dominant win. And the Saints' defense is a perfect opportunity for them to get back on track. They're allowing over 42 points per game recently, making this the ideal matchup for the Chargers to find the end zone in both halves. For fans, it's not just about scoring, it's about seeing the team execute a balanced and sustained offensive game plan. Switching gears to defense, let's talk about the Saints' quarterback situation. Due to injuries, the Saints are starting rookie Spencer Rattler. This isn't the ideal setup for the Saints, as Rattler has faced significant struggles in his limited action. He's thrown 2 interceptions and fumbled 3 times over the last couple of games. Even more concerning for the Saints, he's been sacked a whopping 11 times in just 2 games, showing just how vulnerable he is in the pocket. For the Chargers' defense, the mission is simple: make life miserable for Rattler. Defensive coordinator Jesse Minter will likely bring pressure to force Rattler into quick decisions and mistakes. The game plan should focus on rattling the rookie quarterback by changing up defensive looks and throwing unexpected formations at him. When rookies face defenses that disguise coverage and bring delayed blitzes, they tend to struggle. If the Chargers' defense can consistently confuse Rattler, they'll have a good chance of forcing multiple turnovers. The Chargers also need to be aware of Rattler's mobility. Although he's inexperienced, Rattler has shown he can make plays outside the pocket. Keeping him contained and limiting his ability to throw on the run will be crucial. Linebackers and defensive ends need to maintain containment and avoid giving him easy lanes to escape pressure. Expect Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa to be aggressive, aiming to rack up sacks and disrupt the Saints' passing game from the get-go. While the focus might be on stopping Rattler, the Chargers' biggest defensive test will come from Saints running back Alvin Kamara. Known as one of the league's top pass-catching backs, Kamara is dangerous with the ball in space. Last week, the Chargers struggled against James Conner, who managed significant yards off simple dump-off passes, exploiting weaknesses in the Chargers' tackling and angle discipline. Kamara will be even more challenging to contain. He's already made waves this season with big plays in the screen game, including a 57-yard touchdown catch. The Saints use him heavily, and he's a threat to break loose at any moment. In the last 2 games, he's been targeted 15 times, and the Saints will likely try to get him involved early and often. To keep Kamara in check, the Chargers need to focus on solid tackling and smart positioning. Defensive backs and linebackers have to recognize when Kamara is in a position to get the ball and close in quickly. If the Chargers can limit his yards after the catch, they'll force the Saints into longer, more challenging drives, keeping the ball out of Kamara's hands. Another defensive priority: preventing big plays. The Chargers have allowed multiple explosive plays in each of their losses this season, with touchdowns of 44 yards or more in every game they've lost. These momentum-shifting plays can change a game's trajectory, so cutting down on these defensive lapses will be key to keeping control. Let me give you my prediction. Looking at the stakes, this game feels like a must-win for the Chargers. A loss to an injury-depleted team, led by a rookie quarterback, would be a massive setback. But if the Chargers can protect Herbert, contain Rattler, and limit Kamara's impact, they should come away with a win. The expectation among fans and analysts is that this could be a relatively low-scoring game for the Saints. The Chargers are projected to score around 24 points, while the Saints might struggle to reach the end zone more than once. Many predictions put the Saints at around 13 points, with the Chargers' defense aiming to dominate the line of scrimmage and control the tempo. A major storyline to watch will be the Chargers' ability to finish drives. Scoring early and then stalling out has been a problem all season, but this week is a chance to change that narrative. If the Chargers can score in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter, it'll demonstrate they've overcome one of their biggest hurdles and signal growth for the team. And for the players' prediction, first up, Khalil Mack. Fans should keep an eye out for Mack to have a big day with multiple sacks and maybe even a forced fumble. Mack has been a force this season, and he'll have a favorable matchup against a weak Saints offensive line. If Mack can get into the backfield early, he'll likely make Rattler's day a nightmare. Another player to watch is running back Kamani Vidal. Although Vidal has had limited touches, his one big play this season, a 35-yard touchdown reception, showed he's a legitimate weapon. This week, with a limited receiving core, Vidal might see more action, potentially racking up some impressive yardage, both on the ground and through the air. Look for him to be involved in the screen game and perhaps as a surprise target on deeper routes. Josh Palmer and Jalen Reagor also have the potential for breakout games. Reagor's had a rough start, but he's got the speed to stretch the field. With the Saints focused on Herbert's primary targets, Reagor could slip past coverage and create big play opportunities. Palmer, who had his best game of the season last week, will need to build on that momentum to keep the Chargers' passing game dangerous. To wrap up, this game is about the Chargers proving they can handle pressure and deliver when it counts. Fans want a win, a solid win. If you are a true Chargers fan, like the video and subscribe to the channel. More news are coming on the way.